Overcast conditions, rainy conditions here at Coach Richard Wacker Stadium. It's the 2-2 Rowan University Profs taking on the 2-2 Pioneers of William Paterson University. Hello everyone, Derek Jones and Jonathan Kohut ready to bring you Profs football here today as the temperatures in the 50s today and the Profs and Pioneers out on the field. Rowan wearing their brown jerseys with white pants. A little bit of a different look today for the Profs. Those brown tops, gold numbers, and gold lettering across the front with the Rowan helmet in brown and yellow. Brown and gold to be exact. Meanwhile, the Pioneers decked out in their white jerseys with black numbering and black and orange lettering across the front. They will kick it away to the Profs first.
And Derek, I think if you're Rowan, you love that you're getting the ball first here. This is a team who had a bad week offensively last week, and conversely, Rowan had a very good week offensively, and you'd like to bury them early.
It'll be Robert Sinegra with the kickoff. It'll be fielded at the 10, crossing the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Step over to the 35, 40, 45, midfield 45. Down the sideline to the 40-yard line. That is Whit Marcelin. Great return by Marcelin.
Thought he might have been gone for a moment there, but then a very good play staying home by the place kicker, Robert Sinegra. And he tracked Marcelin all the way down the sideline. You love to see that if you're a coach, seeing the special teams guys knowing, hey, I'm not just a kicker. I'll make some tackles if I have to, and he saves himself a touchdown right there.
And the Profs set up with great field position here to start. Moving from right to left, it'll be Bill McCarty out of the shotgun set. We'll go through the lineup with you in a moment as they adjust things here on a 1st and 10 from the Pioneers' 39-yard line. Warren Oliver coming to the near side. Two receivers right of the line for McCarty, joined by a pair of backs. Marcelin in motion. He'll take the swing pass. 40, turns it upfield, 35. 30, brought down right near the 25-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 14 yards for Marcelin on the throw from McCarty.
And so just as we're saying in the pregame, well, we can expect to see a whole lot of rushes for Whit Marcelin. What does Bill McCarty do? Little swing pass to his running back, good for a first down on the first play of the game. That'll get a nice offensive rhythm going.
Jasim Rover, by the way, was in there on the opening snap. We may very well see him get some carries today. 1st and 10 for the Profs from the 25 of the Pioneers. It's a handoff to Marcelin straight ahead inside of the 25, down near the 21. Gain of 4 yards for Marcelin. Let's run down the lineup here for the Profs. The offensive line, the left tackle is Stephen Schwartz. The left guard is Derek Sergio. The center, George Myers. The right guard is Joe Borden. Darrell Gulliford is the right tackle. The tight end is Matt Hughes. The receivers, Warren Oliver, Todd Gilliam, and Russ Forcione. The running back is Whit Marcelin, and at quarterback is Bill McCarty. It's a 2nd and 6. Just over a minute gone by. Rowan in Pioneers territory at the 21. Shotgun snap, handoff. Marcelin left side, and Marcelin is upended as he crossed the 20 at the 19, gain of 2.
Be a 3rd and short here. I think they'll probably give Whit Marcelin another try to pick up the first down here, but if they don't, it'll be interesting to see what they do. This is right about Tyler Knighton field goal range here. Maybe take the quick lead if you can.
3rd and 5, ball officially spotted at the 20 of William Paterson. Gilliam to the near side. And movement up front. The Pioneers started in towards the Rowan line, and that caused the Rowan line to jump, but we'll see what the call is here from the officials.
Looks like they asked Jerry Flora what he wants to do, so I believe that might go against the Profs. Oh no, it's encroachment. There it is.
So they say Rowan was induced into jumping. So 5 yards, and that's a first down for the Profs.
Well, saves Tom Dottie the stress. Doesn't have to worry about what he's going to do on a 3rd and 5. And Jasim Rover right back into the game. And he was a guy who, Coach, of course, he said they didn't have him carrying the ball a whole lot at the end of the last game because they weren't sure if he was a guy they could definitely trust, but now he's in a double running back set, maybe playing a fullback type position.
Rover and Marcelin in the backfield. 3 receivers, quick throw again, swing pass, Marcelin drops it. Marcelin dropped it. He had some real estate out there to the flat area right, but could not come up with a catch. 2nd and 10.
2 passes and 2 swing routes by Whit Marcelin going out to the right side of the field, the far side First one, a nice gain that time. He could have had a nice gain, but a little bit low by Bill McCarty. Threw that one around the knees. Want to get that one a little bit higher.
3 receivers again. Marcelin slips to the right. 2nd and 10 from the 15. Handoff Marcelin. Marcelin trying to pull a convoy of Pioneer defenders with him. Does so to the 9. Good power and effort by Marcelin as the Profs draw inside of the 10-yard line.
And so another 3rd down and medium situation here. Obviously, they got helped out on the first one with the defensive penalty, but it'll be interesting to see what the play call is here, especially inside the red zone, whether they're going to give the ball to Whit Marcelin to just take it in himself.
4 receivers set, trips right. It's a 3rd and 4. McCarty throws left, caught, end zone, touchdown. Todd Gilliam in the end zone, and that gives Rowan the early 6-0 lead with 12:06 left to go here in quarter number 1.
Well, it's just a little hitch route. There's nothing very special about it. He just goes to the edge of the end zone, turns around, waits for the ball. Bill McCarty puts it right there, very quick throw, and Todd Gilliam's defender was giving him a little bit too much room, especially inside the 5-yard line, and Gilliam just walks that one in, his first TD of the season.
Nice and easy for the Profs offense to start. Tyler Knighton on for the extra point. Spotted down on the way and through, and that gives Rowan a 7-0 lead. 12:06 left to go here in first quarter action from Glassboro. We'll have more on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM headed your way right after this.
Rowan.
Kickoff will be fielded shy of the 10, crossing out towards the 25 and near the 29-yard line for the Pioneers, as William Paterson trying to get things going as Darius Kersey on the return for William Paterson.
Well, a nice fast start for the Profs, Derek, and that's exactly what you want to see from this Profs offense. Everything working exactly the way you want it to. Whit Marcelin picking up some first downs. Bill McCarty throwing when he has to, making the easy throws, finding the open man. Didn't even have to make progressions on that drive. Everything working for the offense there, and that's got to set a tone for this game. Now let's see if the defense can start a tone against Austin Fellows, the freshman signal caller.
Fellows will open it up 1st and 10. From the 29. 12 minutes left to go, first quarter. Rowan leading 7-0. It is Alvarez on the tackle off of the handoff, crossing the 30 near the 33-yard line. As Deanna gets his first look of the day on the carry off the right side. He gains 4. It's a 2nd and 6.
Remember last year against the Profs, Matt Deanna only had 7 carries. He's already got his first one here today, but we mentioned he doesn't carry the ball a whole lot. They have a lot of guys who are going to see touches, especially at the running back position. But he does average over 5 yards a carry when he does get the ball.
Fellows will go shotgun. 3 receivers, 2 flanked out to the left. He'll take the snap, and it'll be Deanna again. Deanna past the 35 near the 37-yard line. And that will bring up a 3rd and short. The Pioneers need to get to the 39.
Be a big stop if the Profs can get it. Same play twice in a row, and what the offensive line for William Paterson is doing is they're trying to get Chris Alvarez to the outside, create a hole between the tackle and the guard, and so far they're doing a very good job of that, and I believe that's Jalen Haynes who's working on Chris Alvarez.
They go 2 this time to the left. Shotgun set for Fellows. It's a 3rd and 2. Swing pass, Deanna has to make somebody miss, does so, has the first down to the 45. He's wrapped up by Tyler Jenkins there, but Deanna gets the first down for William Paterson.
Just put a move on Jared Sanchez there. It's not very often you see Sanchez miss on a play. But give credit to Deanna, a very nice little juke move, and he gets enough for the first down.
Deanna with a pair of 100-yard rushing days to his credit this season. And he'll be certainly one of the players to watch in this game. $10:15 remaining, first quarter. It is a 1st and 10 from the Paterson 45. Play action. Fellows shoots one down the seam, and that's intercepted. On the overthrow, it's Kurt Kingett. Kingett knocked out of bounds in William Paterson territory. Not a good throw out of the hands of Austin Fellows. An easy pick for Kurt Kingett.
And I don't think that's going to give Jerry Flora very much confidence in his young quarterback there. He had a man wide open up the seam, and that's a simple route. That's usually what you see the tight ends run. Just say, hey, run a go route up the seam, and usually if there's a zone coverage, which is what the Profs were playing, he'll be wide open. Kurt Kingett was over the top, so it wouldn't have been a huge gain, but he had the open man, missed him, and Kurt Kingett just was in the right spot. All he had to do was catch it, and that he did. Had a nice return as well.
That's the second interception of the season for Kingett. 3 receivers, Rover and Marcelin in the backfield, and all kinds of movement up front.
I think that was probably a miscount by George Myers, the center. Remember, he just moved to that spot. Everyone on the offensive line, everyone on the offense moved except for the center, the snapper, George Myers. So you'd imagine that's probably his error. That's growing pains. Obviously, we heard he was a guard and tackle for most of his life. Center, a whole different position, but he's adjusting. And Coach Accorsi and Tom Dottie very happy with the adjustments and the leaps George Myers has made since becoming the center.
3 receivers. They put Forcione and Oliver out to the right. Marcelin the lone back. It's a 1st and 15 from the Pioneers 42. Bit of a high snap. Marcelin with the carry, and he stopped at the line of scrimmage. A few Pioneers there to help with the tackle, and we have a player down for the Profs, writhing in pain on the ground.
Looks like Matt Hughes. That's not good. You know, we've talked about the struggles they've had at the wide receiver position. Matt Hughes is a guy who doesn't drop a lot of balls. And Bill McCarty has shown to have faith in his tight end, and I believe that is Hughes down on the field. If it is Matt Hughes, who they're stretching out right now, so you certainly hope it's just a cramp, but if that is Matt Hughes, and he can't come back in, a whole lot of that workload is going to fall on the shoulders of Cullen McHugh, more of a blocking tight end. Not really a guy who's going to go out and run routes for you. He is certainly capable of catching the ball. That would be a big loss if that is Matt Hughes down.
Still looking for confirmation on who that is down on the field for the Profs. Once play resumes, it'll be a 2nd and 15, 9:49 left to go. First quarter, it's a 7-0 Rowan lead on a touchdown catch of 9 yards from Todd Gilliam.
Profs are probably in 4-down territory here. As long as you can get a decent gain on either 2nd or 3rd down to make it a reasonable distance, down and distance to the 4th down. And it looks like it's Cullen McHugh, actually. Yeah.
It is Cullen McHugh. So McHugh, the backup tight end, but you see him often in blocking situations, and he is struggling to put weight on his right leg.
And he immediately grabbed at the right knee, and you worry, same thing that happened to Frankie Goris last week, ACL, MCL, it's the first thing you think. And you'll see that a lot from guys blocking up front, just getting caught under somebody, especially on run plays, and the leg gets twisted, and things like that are going to happen.
He is in a tremendous amount of pain as they bring him here over to the trainer's table to get checked out. The clock starts up. Profs set up shop at the 42 of William Paterson. 2 receivers right of the line. McCarty, who was 14 of 25 last week, has this ball go over his head. And he'll have to hop on top of it all the way back at the 44-yard line of Rowan.
And just like that, no longer 4-down territory unless they can get a very nice gain here on 3rd down. That's the 2nd time we've seen George Myers with a high snap. The first one was actually on the touchdown throw. Bill McCarty came down with it and immediately made the throw to Todd Gilliam. That time a little bit too high, but a good play by Bill McCarty. Didn't try to do too much there, just fell on the ball. That's the right move. A lot of times you'll see young quarterbacks try to scoop that one and make something happen.
Three receiver set, handoff for Marcelin. Marcelin at midfield trying to pick his way through the defense, and his progress is stopped right at about the 47-yard line of the Pioneers, and Rowan and Mark Diedrichson will head on the field to punt.
And the right move here, we know what Diedrichson is capable of. He can really pit William Paterson deep, and after their offense looked on the first drive, you'd love to pit them deep and kind of make them sweat a little bit, especially already down 7-0 early in the first quarter.
And you made a good point there in terms of that high snap over the head of McCarty. Sometimes, yes, you will see a player pick up that ball and try to make a play. On top of that, with the slick conditions, a good thing for the Profs, he did not have that ball slip out from under him. The punt bounces inside of the 20-yard line. It's touched up by Eddie Davis near the 8. So the Pioneers will start backed up here with 8:03 left to go in quarter number 1, and Rowan leading 7-0.
It's a nice pump by Mark Diedrichson. You wish he would have angled that one a little bit more towards the sidelines, but Eddie Davis, so fast and good in coverage, gets down there and touches it up right about the 8-yard line. He could have let that one roll a little bit. It would have been probably a bigger risk, as that was rolling pretty fast, but Davis got there, and that's a nice punt, and that's why you do that in that spot.
We'll introduce you to the Pioneers here shortly on offense on their second possession of the day. 8:03 remaining, first quarter. One receiver set to each side. Fellows with a handoff, Deanna. Deanna trying to turn the corner left side, and he has some room and some traction near the 16-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 8 yards. The offensive line today, the left tackle is Andrew Donald. The left guard is Ryan Connolly. The center is Jake Stockton Rossini. The right guard is Ryan Sabol. The right tackle is Jalen Haynes. The tight end is Ian Leary. The receivers are Anthony DiMarcico, Nick Burke, and at running back today, Dwayne Dabney and Matt Deanna, and the quarterback is Austin Fellows. As they switch things up at the quarterback spot, and they run it out towards the 17-yard line. They were going with a bit of a wildcat look there as DiMarcico with the run there, and he picked up a yard. It's 3rd and 1.
And DiMarcico is a guy who's listed as the backup, a junior, but as you said, it seemed like that was just run the whole way. And now Fellows is right back into the game. Remember, Wesley was running the Wildcat against Rowan, but that was when they were already up by 30 points.
DiMarcico outside this time. D'd up by Jared Sanchez. Three receivers set. It's a 3rd and 1. Deanna takes the handoff. Deanna still moving forward. Looks like he has the first down at the 20.
Nice cut back by Deanna. Didn't see anything on the outside, so he cuts it back to the inside, lets his offensive line do the work for him, get the push, and get it past the sticks. That's a good run there, a hard run by Matt Deanna. Not trying to do too much. Knows where he was on the field, just trying to get the first down, and he does.
Under 6.5 left to go here in the first quarter. Rowan jumping out early with a 7-0 lead. As the Pioneers try to get going on the offensive side. Two receivers flush to the near side. Play action on a 1st and 10. Fellows with time, and then he gets hit hard. Brought down near the 11-yard line. A collection of Profs there, including Tyler Jenkins and Sebastian Lajoka.
I think it was Lajoka who made the initial contact, and Austin Fellows had a guy wide open down the near sideline, but he never looked there, never went through his progressions, and sometimes that's going to happen with a freshman quarterback still getting used to a system. He didn't look at all of his guys, and because of it, he hesitates. He tries to roll out, but by the time he tries to do that, Lajoka's all over him, and Tyler Jenkins there to clean things up.
10th sack allowed this season by William Paterson. 2nd and 19, they'll spot it from the 11. Quick throw left side. Caught at the 10, coming out past the 15-yard line near the 16 as the reception made that time over in the flat area, so that'll bring up a 3rd and long. So the Pioneers here having some trouble protecting the passer.
And it's been a common theme for them all season long, but with a 3rd and 14 upcoming here for the Rowan defense, I'd expect not to see much of a rush. Probably only the 4 down linemen play everyone else back in coverage. We know the linebackers are more than capable of playing either man or zone defense, and now there's going to be 4 wideouts.
Four receivers set, 2 to each side on a 3rd and 14. 4:40 left to go. First quarter, Fellows in trouble again. Steps up in the pocket, throws downfield. It's caught along the far side of the field in front of the William Paterson sideline. That is Dwayne Dabney with the reception.
Can't give a freshman quarterback that much time to throw. He had all day. And it was interesting, Darren Dungy was coming in looking like he was going to blitz. He goes back. It was only a 3-man rush because Chris Alvarez manned up the tight end. He was playing back in pass coverage. I think it's probably the first time we've seen that all season.
So Dabney, who is kind of a dual threat player out of the running back spot, he can make catches and also run the ball effectively as well, has a first down. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. As it'll be Dabney, but this time Dabney is stopped at the 36. So he loses footing and ground back to the 36. It'll set up a 2nd and long.
4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. William Paterson's offense so far has been very methodical, just moving in short clips. They haven't tried anything downfield other than that 3rd and long play, but that was only about a 15-yard catch. Other than that, just going with the short runs here in the early going, taking up a lot of time on the offense.
One receiver to each side here as we approach 3:30 left to go, first quarter. Fellows, play action fake. Pressure coming on, rolls the pocket right, and he heads out of bounds. Jenkins was chasing him, and Fellows just snuck out of bounds before Jenkins could get to him.
Also saw Connor Pastrick was rushing him, and that's what actually forced Fellows out of the pocket. Looked like he might have been held on the edge there. He was looking for a call, and we said that was going to be one of the things we'd look for here today. It was something we saw last year at Paterson. It was Chris Alvarez who was getting held on seemingly every play, and that time it was Pastrick at the receiving end.
Trips left, 3rd and 7 here with 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Shotgun snap to Fellows. Deanna has it in the flat near side, and he is close to a first down. Looks like he has it near the 49-yard line. A small contingent of Pioneers fans across the way approve of that play.
Same swing play we saw on the first drive that they converted their first down on. Matt Deanna, he just comes out of the backfield, set up wide right in the shotgun formation, and he just runs the wheel on the outside, on the near sideline, and that's the first guy Fellows looks to. Didn't have to make any progressions. That's what he was looking for on 3rd and short, and he gets him again.
Shotgun snap on the way with 3 receivers, 2 left of the line. And Dabney will take the handoff. Dabney gets bumped off and then brought down. So the Profs defense very good in pursuit. Bobby Barberi there to make the tackle.
Linebackers blitzing from both sides. I said maybe we'll see some more blitz packages from this Rowan defense today, given how the offensive line of William Paterson has struggled. And that time it was Barberi and Tyler Jenkins coming off the edges. Jenkins had him in pursuit on the back end. Barberi had him on the front end, and they stopped him for a loss of about 5 yards.
Clock inside of 2 minutes remaining. First quarter, 7-0 lead for Rowan. As Fellows slips back into the gun. One receiver to each side, now brings a man in motion to the near side. Marsico, he's going to line up to throw here. Arches one long downfield, and it's incomplete. 2 Profs there bracketing the play as he tried to find Darius Kersey downfield. Good-looking throw, but a bit long.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good decision because, as you said, very tight coverage. Jared Sanchez once again. We've talked about how good he is at the cornerback position. Very rarely do you see a wide receiver with a step on Jared Sanchez. That time, Marsico had nowhere to go with it. He still made the throw. Maybe not a great decision, and it was good that he overthrew that one because if not, Jared Sanchez, I think, has a chance to pick that one off.
Tell you what, for a receiver option play there, that was a pretty good throw.
And Marsico now is lined up at wide receiver.
Thrown in the flat by Fellows, complete to Deanna. Deanna across midfield, brought down near the 46-yard line. So Matt Deanna and the Pioneers unable to pick up the first down. It'll be 4th down with the ball at the 46-yard line of Rowan.
4th and 5. I think if it was a little bit closer, they might consider going for it or even faking a punt here, but with a 4th and 5 right around midfield, and the way Rowan offense moved the ball certainly on that first drive, don't want to give them anything, certainly not the ball at midfield.
So the Pioneers, who convert third downs on a 36% clip this season, unsuccessful there. The punt fielded by Zach France near the 12. Coming across the 15, 20, 25, still on his feet at the 30, and then hit hard right at the 31-yard line, as making the tackle there to the defensive back, Nick Freeman, applying the belt, but France able to hold on to the ball on a muggy, wet day.
Best return we've seen all season from Zach France, and that's got to give the Rowan coaches a little bit of confidence. Remember, fumbled the ball a couple times this season against Widener and then again against Wesley, but a nice return that time. Maybe would have had a chance for a fair catch. It seems like I think a lot of guys would have probably called for it, but he knew he had some room, and he makes him pay. Gashes that return team for William Paterson.
So McCarty and the Profs back out. 3 receivers set. It's a handoff Marcelin. Marcelin to the 36-yard line. One of the things watching the Profs so far, clearly if you're a defense, you're going to pay a little bit more attention to the running game, and we saw Cortland do that last week, but it was the first time we saw an opponent do that, and Rowan made him pay significantly for it.
Yeah, well, they're stacking the box. William Paterson, they're putting all their linebackers up on the line. The difference today is that the Rowan offensive line hasn't gotten to that second level just yet. Certainly not on the first 2 drives, but they're going to keep trying to do it, and they're going to keep giving the ball to Whit Marcelin. It's not something they're going to stop.
3 receivers, Marcelin again. Right side, breaks the tackle, has the first down to the 46-yard line. A gain of 10 yards on the run by Marcelin, and that will close business here in the first quarter. So the Profs will head off to the sideline, switch ends, and continue their drive. This Brown and Gold, this Profs game summary brought to you by the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club. The Profs leading it by the score of 7-0 thanks to a 9-yard touchdown catch by Todd Gilliam off the throw from Bill McCarty. It is 7-0 Profs as we head to the second quarter. We'll have more on 89.7 headed your way right after this. Just about set for the start of second quarter action. Derek Jones and Jonathan Cohut with you for Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. Profs lead it by the score of 7-0 as Rowan had an opportunity to pick up a first down, did so with the Marcelin run, having at the 46 of the Profs.
Yeah, some very interesting scores around the end, Jack. I'll wait till the end of this play, but I think everyone's going to be very interested to hear what's going on around the New Jersey Athletic Conference.
Pitch play, Marcelin on a 1st and 10 carry. Turns it up, midfield, 45-yard line, makes a man miss. Hit and escorted out of bounds by Jason Montalvo. And that'll set up a 2nd and short.
SUNY Cortland still looking for their first win of the season, and well, it looks like they're on their way to it. 14-0 at the half. Obviously still a very close game, but that's over TCNJ, another team a lot of people expected to be contenders. This is an interesting one. 10-9, Kane over Morrisville at the half.
Intriguing. Morrisville State will be here next week for Profs homecoming. It's a 1st and 10, and the carry will be taken by McCarty this time up the middle. Limited gain there.
Read option. We saw Bill McCarty try that out a little bit last week, and that's really the first time we've seen the Rowan offense going with a read option play like that, but they're obviously getting a little bit more faith in Bill McCarty as far as him carrying the ball goes. And we've said he's not a typical quarterback. He's got a very big body, a stocky body, almost built like a fullback, so he's certainly a guy who can run through some guys.
We'll go through some of the numbers here in this quarter momentarily, or excuse me, to recap the first quarter. 3 receivers, shotgun snap to McCarty, throws over the middle, caught by Matt Hughes, the tight end. Hughes is knocked down about 3 yards shy of the first down near the 37. The Profs in the first quarter outgained by the Pioneers 62-43. William Paterson did hold the ball though for nearly 9.5 minutes and were 4 of 5 on third down conversions, but looking at the score, a big goose egg so far for the Pioneers.
Montclair State, a team right now looking to go 2-0 in the NJAC, certainly will be a contender come the end of the season as far as the NJAC championship goes.
It'll be a 3rd and 2. Quick throw out to Marcelin. 30-yard line, 25, near the 23. That's one thing we have not seen a ton of out of Whit Marcelin here during his Rowan career, and that's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's done it in spots, and he can do it, but you see here the Profs exploring the option a little bit more freely today.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of nice gains from it. He's also dropped the ball from it. Whit Marcelin, the kind of guy who we've mentioned, one of his problems as far as running goes, and now Whit Marcelin, look at that, he's out of the game. Jocelyn Rover, only guy in the backfield with Bill McCarty. We'll see what they go with here.
3 receivers on a 1st and 10 ball at the 23. Rover will take the carry. Rover makes a man miss inside of the 20, down towards the 19. Not a lot of work for Rover last week, John, but you had to like what you saw out of it.
Average over 5 yards a carry. He'll take that every time. And you think of him as a big guy, just power back, put a move on that time, and got past one guy and didn't get stopped in the backfield. Actually gets about a 4-yard gain out of it. Gotta like that. And just as soon as we say that, Whit Marcelin checks back into the game for Rover.
Now, Dante Tobler normally is the backup running back for the Profs. Fumbled last week in the win. But that gives the Profs some flexibility with having 3 guys who can run the ball for you. 2nd and 7. Marcelin right side, penalty marker down, 2 thrown as Marcelin tried to square his shoulders downfield at the 20.
There's going to be a hold there. And that one was pretty obvious, and I think that one might have been on George Myers.
And it will be a hold against the Profs. A relatively clean game in the first quarter. Just 2 penalties for 10 yards, 1 for 5 on each side, an offside and a false start. But here, the biggest penalty of the game so far in terms of yard length, it's a hold, pushing the Profs back to the 30.
Still in 4-down territory here, and if they can get it close to that first down, maybe even Tyler Knighton field goal range. Love a 2-score lead.
12 minutes left to go, second quarter. 7-zip lead for Rowan. 2nd and long here, 17 yards to be exact. Snap goes to McCarty. Steps up, fires, and that's incomplete. Tried to find Warren Oliver there. He had 2 defenders near him. Couldn't come up with a football.
And I think Oliver got skittish, heard footsteps. It was a good throw by Bill McCarty. That's a ball that if you're Warren Oliver, if you want to be the #1 guy on this team, you have to catch that ball. It was a good throw by McCarty. Double coverage, so what? He put the ball right on his hands, and Warren Oliver could not make the catch. Been a problem, a reoccurring theme for this Rowan offense this season.
The long flowing locks of Kelly Gallimore set to step in there and pop Oliver if he caught the football. 3rd and 17 from the 30. Shotgun snap goes to McCarty. Has time. Over the middle. Ball looked like it was high, intended for Forgione, but it's caught by Matt Hughes at the 25-yard line. So that's a gain of 5. So let's see what Jay Accorsi will call for here on 4th and 12 from the 25-yard line. This would be about a 42, 43-yard field goal, depending on the spot.
We saw Tyler Knighton run down, stopped practicing kicks, and ran down towards Coach Accorsi, wondering, hey, you want me to go in there? I'll try one from here. It's a little bit out of his range, I think, but Tyler Knighton obviously confident, but he'll keep the offense on the field and go for it here on a 4th and long.
8 on the play clock as McCarty looking over things. And I think they're going to use a timeout here. So the Profs will call a timeout to talk things over here on 4th and 12 from the 25. This is where in the past we've seen Rowan kind of use this situation as a jump ball spot for a receiver in the end zone. But Eddie Eisenhart isn't with the team this year, so they don't have a receiver who can quite do it to that extent. unless you look at maybe Warren Oliver as being an option to go long.
Yeah, I think Warren Oliver is really the only guy who you can look at as that option, but even Warren Oliver isn't incredibly tall for a wide receiver. He does have pretty good hands, and we've seen him get a couple jump balls. The one touchdown against Widener was kind of a pseudo jump ball back shoulder in the end zone against Widener. That was the only touchdown of the game, but yeah, you're right. Warren Oliver probably is that guy, but now look at that, Tyler Knighton out to kick a field goal. A long attempt for the freshman. It'd be nice if he could make this one.
So Knighton on. Will attempt a field goal. This one will be a try of 42 yards. It'll be off the right hash with a spot. And the hold by Jeff Rodriguez. Kick on the way. It is up and it is gone. A 42-yard field goal just sneaking by the crossbar to make it Rowan 10, William Paterson nothing with 10:47 left to go. Here in the second quarter, we'll step out for a quick break and come back with more on 89.7 right after this. 10:47 left to go, second quarter. Profs leading it by the score of 10-0 after the career-long 42-yard field goal by Tyler Knighton. Kick will be fielded near the 5, crossing the 10, the 15, out near the 20-yard line. Is Kersey, and he brings it out.
Just think about how big a weapon that is for the Profs. That was a situation last year, with all due respect to Dan Dawson, he was a good guy when it came to point after attempts, but he didn't have much range as far as field goal kicking went. That was a spot where in 2013 the Profs would almost definitely have to go for it. You put Bill McCarty in a position where he essentially has to pass the ball, and that's when he feels uncomfortable, and that's when you see the interceptions from Bill McCarty. What a weapon. You have it make it a 2-score game because Tyler Knighton can hit from that range. And Derek, what do I feel like by the time this guy's a senior, we're going to see him hit ones from 50-plus yards?
That was a pretty good effort there by Knighton, and if the Profs can implement that certainly on a consistent basis, that will help out a lot. Deanna takes a handoff, and he is stopped in the backfield. Tyler Jenkins coming off the edge there with the tackle. And that will bring up a second and long, 2nd and 12.
He just doesn't get fooled by anybody. I mean, he looks at the ball, he sees where it is, and he responds to it. He doesn't get juked out. He doesn't get faked out by the little play action passes. He is so good at sticking to his assignment, sticking with his man. He does it again right there. Tyler Jenkins, man, he is some kind of defender, and we can talk all day about it. We certainly did last week, but he continues to impress us here today.
Very true. He makes decisions quickly and reacts quickly as well. 2nd and 12. Rolling out left his fellows, completes it to Dabney. Dabney is tied up and lassoed basically by Jared Sanchez at the 25-yard line. A gain out to the 25 that'll set up a 3rd down. They'll have to get to about the 31-yard line, so it'll be a 3rd and 6 all the way with about 9.5 remaining here. 10-0 lead, second quarter for the Profs.
Just saw Sean Borkowski check into the game at the defensive end position. Coach Accorsi was talking about how he's a guy who they're very impressed with so far, filling in for Josh Popper at that other defensive end spot across from Chris Alvarez.
Profs with 4 down linemen here. Trips receivers right. They blitz Jenkins in off the edge. Look out! Fellows devoured by Tyler Jenkins.
The closing speed. He just has such closing speed. He doesn't get fooled, but it's also the fact that for a linebacker, he has defensive back speed and linebacker size. He is the whole package as far as a defensive player goes. Another sack for Tyler Jenkins here today, and another sack given up by this William Paterson offensive line, and they're punting deep in their own territory.
back near the 1 yard line. Not a lot of room there. Bit of a high snap. Booted. Not a deep punt. France will go under it, slide at the 42-yard line. So Pat Moran with the punt. And the Profs take over in great field position and a chance to add to their 10-0 lead. So Jenkins again doing it here for the Profs. And normally if you see a cluster of jerseys in a play defensively for the Profs, number 18 is normally in the mix. There, did it by himself on the sack. 1st and 10 as they go with a handoff to Marcelin. Marcelin tries to bump off the first wave of defenders but can't. The Pioneers there, aggressive to the football to stop Marcelin. Gain to nearly the 40-yard line. So we'll call it a gain of 2. That'll set up a 2nd down and about 8 here for the Profs.
One thing William Paterson's defense has been doing a very good job of here today, Derek, is stopping the Profs offense on the early downs, 1st and 2nd down, forcing them into situations where they have a 3rd and medium or a 3rd and long, and that's when Bill McCarty is forced to throw, and we talked about that before. That's not the situation you want to put Bill McCarty in.
3 receivers set. Marcelin heads out to the right side, catches it, 35, steps over a man, 30, cuts it back, 25, 24-yard line. Marcelin, 1st down reception for the Profs.
Great job of blocking on the near sideline by Matt Hughes. That really sets up the big gain. He was blocking 2 defensive backs at the same time. Sometimes that's the benefit of being a big tight end when you're going against smaller cornerbacks and safeties, is you can kind of manhandle them. Matt Hughes takes 2 guys at one time, and he opens up a huge hole on that near side for a big gain from Whit Marcelin. Another time they run that little screen, that little flat screen to Whit Marcelin. 3rd time today it's been successful.
He has over 50 yards receiving on the day so far. Marcelin goes out to the left this time, and McCarty will keep it himself, but McCarty with limited results there as he takes the carry for maybe a yard forward near the 23. Will depend on the spot, though. Looks like they'll spot him back near the 24.
Read option that time, not the right decision by Bill McCarty. They were closing in from the edges. If he had given the ball off to Josim Rover, he would have had a nice hole on that right side between the right guard and the right tackle. Instead, Bill McCarty keeps it himself and just runs into a wall of Pioneer defenders on the other side. He's lucky he got back to the line that time.
McCarty surveying the Pioneers' defense. They'll set up with 3 down linemen. They run a 3-4 scheme. 2nd and 9. McCarty will throw. Moves out to the right. Penalty marker down. It's caught by Mike Weber, but that's coming back.
In the area of holding, certainly, and they're looking over at Jerry Flores' bench and assuming he'll accept that.
So the penalty will push the Profs back 10 yards.
Had to assume they'd accept that one because at this point you're in Tyler Knighton field goal range. You don't want to give up another score. Might as well move them back and hope you can just stop them on 2nd and 3rd down and maybe either force them to go for it on a long 4th down or force a punt in an odd spot for Mark Diedrichsen.
So McCarty and the Profs backed up here.
And now I'm interested. Maybe Dante Tober maybe got roughed up in practice a little bit this week because we mentioned the fumble last week, but it's very odd we haven't seen him at all as we get down to the end of the 2nd quarter.
Shotgun set, 2nd and 20. Marcelin takes the handoff. Marcelin to the 29-yard line on the carry. So Marcelin, we know, can lead the Profs in rushing the football. Last check, 9 carries for 46 yards. So far today, actually 3 receptions, 44 yards for Marcelin. So Marcelin with 3 for 44, and it's a 3rd and 15. 10-0 lead for the Profs, 5.5 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. First half action here in Glassboro.
I think if you can get a 5-yard gain here, that's when you'd send Tyler Knighton out for the field goal.
3 receivers. They put Weber in the slot near side. Shotgun snap on the way for McCarty. Steps up in the pocket. Throws middle of the field. It's caught by Gilliam at the 20-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 9. We have about 6 yards for first down, and let's see if Jay Accorsi will send Knighton back out to attempt another field goal.
Well, certainly would be risky, but a 3-score game is always nicer than a 2-score game. You know, Tyler Knighton can certainly make it from this spot in the field, but a 4th and 6 is pretty manageable, and it looks like they'll stay on the field. Fans like it.
It's not a huge wind whipping around, but Profs will go for it. 4th and 6, ball at the Pioneers 20. 3 receivers again for Rowan. Movement up front. The Pioneers are doing a lot of pre-snap movement to get the Profs to jump. Let's see if it worked. And it did.
Daryl Guilford, who jumped that time. At first, I saw him, and I thought he was just pointing out a potential blitzer and talking it over with his offensive line, but too much of a jerky motion, and sometimes if you jump up like that, they're going to give you the call, even if you are just trying to signal something out to your fellow offensive lineman.
That movement will make things a little bit more crystallized for the Profs. 4th and 11 at the 25. 3 receiver set. McCarty out of the gun, gets the snap. Backpedals, slips it out left. Marcelin catches it, but well short of the first down at the 18-yard line. So the ball thrown short of the sticks, hoping Marcelin maybe can make a play to get the first, but the defense of William Paterson there.
A little surprised they didn't send Tyler Knighton out for the field goal attempt there, especially after the false start penalty. He hit one from that spot on the field earlier in the game. I would have trusted him to do it again, but 4th and 9, obviously they thought offensively that was manageable enough, but once again, not a great decision by Bill McCarty. I mean, he did make his progressions, but Whit Marcelin wasn't at the chains. You have to look for a wide receiver at that spot of the field where he's at the chains already. Marcelin had a guy in front of him who was still 5 yards away. Now, I know Marcelin is certainly elusive, but he's not that elusive, especially when he has to worry about catching the ball.
Pioneers get the football at their 20, but play is stopped. Let's find out the reason why. And it's a false start against William Paterson. So they'll have a 1st and 15 here with 4:06 left to go in the second quarter. 10-0 Rowan lead.
And this is the spot in the field where Paterson is deep in their own territory, where the Profs have been sending pressure, blitzes off the edges. We've seen Jenkins blitzing off that right side, Dungy on the other side, as well as Bobby Barberi. So we'll see if they do that now that Paterson is pitted inside the 15.
Profs outgaining the Pioneers here today, 119-57. William Paterson so far -1 yards rushing. Shotgun snap, and the handoff coming off to the left side there is Dabney with the carry, but he stopped in the backfield again. So the Profs doing an effective job in run stops, again slowing down Dabney. So a loss of a yard calls it a 2nd and 16 with 3:40 left to go before halftime. Fellows getting more and more backed up here. He got sacked last time he had the football in a similar position. Play action. Fellows slips out to the right, throws, and it's caught. Far sideline, the reception made that time by Ollie Brown, the freshman wide receiver.
So you have a 3rd and long here, and in the first situation when Paterson did convert on the 3rd and long, it's because Rowan only brought a 4-man rush, and that gave Austin Fellows a lot of time in the pocket to find the open man, and that's what you can't give a freshman quarterback. The next 2 times they were facing a 3rd and long, Rowan brought 5-6-man blitzes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it here again, and I'd like to see where Tyler Jenkins is lined up on this play.
Trips near side. One receiver to the right on a 3rd and 9. Fellows throws, and that's incomplete. They were looking for pass interference, and now a very late flag thrown as Eddie Davis was in coverage. And let's see if they'll call it.
I agree with the call, because I do think that was defensive pass interference, but at the same time, throw that flag immediately. If you don't see it immediately, don't just listen to the other bench and say, okay, well, they really want it, they seem convinced, so I'll throw the flag. That was more of a reactionary penalty more than anything. And I don't agree with that, but I do agree that was definitely pass interference on Eddie Davis.
That results in a 1st and 10. Ball moved forward near the 32 for William Paterson. 2:49 left to go. First half. Pioneers 2-2 this season. Scored 36 points in 2 of their first 3 games, but hit a brick wall last week. Pass over the middle, deflected, almost intercepted. Rashad Adams had a golden opportunity for what could have been a pick 6 because he had a lot of open real estate in front of him if he could grab that one.
All he would have had to do was cut it to the near side and walked into the end zone. And playing the role of Eddie Davis this week, Rashad Adams, he's been so good this year. Very rarely can you say anything negative about the secondary for the Profs. Rashad Adams is kicking himself in the behind that time, and certainly he's going to hear it during practice this week unless he can make up for it maybe with an interception down the line in this game.
Adams tried to jump in the air to grab that and couldn't come down with it. 2nd and 10. The 32. Inside handoff. Deanna with room. Deanna still on his feet. Past the 45, near the 48. First down carry of 16 yards for Matt Deanna.
2:37 remaining. Paterson with all 3 of their timeouts. Remember, we said they've been using a lot of time offensively, just monotonously moving the ball down the field. That time, a big gainer from Matt Deanna, his best run of the day. But once again, it keeps the clock moving as we head towards the 2-minute mark.
Fellows and the Pioneers with a 1st and 10 right near midfield. And it'll be a handoff turning upfield that time as the Pioneers really in a situation where they could take their time here to try to cut this lead of Rowan down from 10-0 to a smaller deficit. As the carry that time made by Obina Wanyiri. So Wanyiri brings it out towards midfield with the ball just inside of the midfield stripe. 2nd and 8. They bring Dabney in motion this time. Dabney will take the carry. Dabney to the 49, to the 48. Adams in there to help with the stop, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Bobby Barberi there, who was getting blocked and then got hit by the runner. He actually slowed him down a little bit. He wasn't very elusive that time, but Barberi took a hit, got right back up, though. That's a good sign.
Pioneers on the day converting 3rd downs, or 4 of 6. This one's a 3rd and 7 with 1:11 left to go before halftime. Trips right. Fellows looks right. Throws over the middle. It is caught, but DeMarsico is brought down short of the 1st down, and that'll bring up 4th down. And let's see what the Pioneers will do here with about a 4th and 4 on the way.
Nice tackle by Darren Dungy in pursuit. And if I'm Paterson, 45 seconds left, go for it. Why not? Rowan's got 2 timeouts left, but they're not a team who really has a big play threat unless Whit Marsland can break one away, or maybe Russ Forcione can break one away on a screen. I don't think there's much risk here. I think this is an easy go for it on 4th down. They're taking plenty of time. They're running the clock out here. I mean, maybe they'll be happy going into the half down 10-0.
Play clock is down to 3, and now they will, it looks like, call a timeout.
Very odd. Very, very odd.
So the timeout called. 17 seconds left to go in the first half.
I assume what that means is they don't want to give Rowan any shots offensively, so they bring it down to 17 seconds, and I'd imagine that means they're going to take a deep shot here. They're not just going to go for the sticks. They're going to look around the 10-yard line, or maybe even go to the end zone if Austin Fellows has the arm strength for it.
Well, the Pioneers here, you know, you're down 10-0. This has been a place where historically, and obviously they may not be even thinking about that as far as the historical context of this, but this has been a tough place for your program to win. Why not go for it and see what you can do here with the following 17 seconds? The Pioneers have a couple timeouts in their back pocket, so it's probably worth an opportunity here to go for it here on 4th and 4. Try to make a couple plays with 17 seconds left to go and see if you can scratch out a field goal.
You know, the defense has stepped up today, stopping Rowan in some big spots, stopping them on some big 3rd downs. It's time for the offense for William Paterson to do something here. You know, down 10-0, you can't expect that you're going to score a bunch of points in the second half. You'd love to cut that deficit here in the first half.
So they'll bring out the personnel, and now we'll have a Rowan timeout call. They have one timeout remaining. So the Pioneers with 2 timeouts left, Rowan with 1. At the half, we'll get caught up on the first half highlights as Jackson Baird, Gary Diulo back at the WGLS-FM studios to get you up to speed on what's happening. At last check, between Kane and Morrisville State, it was 10-9 Kane with the lead, and with the type of defense that Morrisville State has, we'll see them next week here in Glassboro, you can't just simply pencil them in for a win on a week-to-week basis. Their offense is good, but defensively there are some question marks there for them.
Getting towards the end of the third, tied up 17 apiece, Morrisville and Kane.
So Fellows and the Pioneers out here for a 4th and 4 from the Rowan 46. Shotgun snap forthcoming. 2 receivers lined up near side. Fellows signals to one of his teammates on the near side. Now they'll go to the line and call timeout.
Tried to get Rowan to jump there, and I assume we'll see a punt.
Interesting tactic there.
Timeout, timeout, timeout. Very slow-paced game. Usually you don't see this kind of play in a football game, but both of these teams understand they need to win here today.
Reminiscent of the closing moments of an NBA contest.
Yeah.
You see a lot of timeouts and not a lot of game action necessarily.
You know, Derek, you mentioned it earlier about the halftime show coming up. It was a long time since we've been back here at Coach Richard Wacker Stadium. Seems like it's been equally long since the icon was back in the studio, Gary Diulo.
Yes, great to have him back in the fold to help usher along the halftime highlights. The Profs have been in control here for much of this game. It's only 10-0, but the Pioneers have not mounted a significant scoring threat in this contest. Turned it over once. And it looks like they will still go for it. Perhaps didn't like the look they saw from Rowan. 4th and 4. Snap goes to Fellows. Fellows arches one down the sideline, and that one is intercepted. It is picked off by Eddie Davis. So Eddie Davis makes up for a couple of interceptions dropped last week. Makes a difficult pick there on a throw down the far sideline. The Profs get it back with 11 seconds left to go before halftime.
Well, you said it, Derek. Degree of difficulty very high for Eddie Davis that time. Actually, probably should have seen a flag called for offensive pass interference as someone was draped over the back of Eddie Davis, but he stuck with the ball. Unfortunately, it's not in a spot where the Profs are going to try to do anything offensively. They'll be satisfied with a 10-0 lead, and they'll go into the victory formation to end the first half.
So the Profs will take a knee here and head into the locker room. 10-0 lead. They get the early touchdown catch by Todd Gilliam. And from there, backed on a 42-yard field goal to lead it 10-0. That Profs game summary brought to you by the Brown and Gold Gridiron Club as the Profs lead this one 10-0 at the half. Diedrichson pops one up in the air. It'll be fielded inside of the 15-yard line, brought out past the 20, near the 30, and across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. So Wanyeri on the return there for William Paterson, and the Pioneers will return to the field. Austin Fellows, as there is a penalty marker down on the kickoff, and we might see this done again, perhaps.
It looks like it'll be on Rowan because once again the officials are looking over to Jerry Flores' bench, looking for what they want to do.
So the penalty here, offsides. So the Pioneers will take the football. Instead of having them re-kick, they'll bring it out across the 35 to about the 38-yard line. So Wanyeri with the return. And then the 5-yard offside penalty tacked on. And Austin Fellows and the Pioneers offense back out. Under center is Fellows. One receiver to each side on a 1st and 10. Deanna with a handoff. And Deanna is chopped down. Jared Sanchez with the tackle. So Sanchez missed time due to a concussion. over the past few weeks. Back out here last week with the Profs making the tackle there.
One thing we haven't really talked about here today, Derek, and it's kind of gone unnoticed, and Coach Accorsi actually got a little bit frustrated with me during the coaches show. He said, why don't you mention the special teams? That's been one of the best parts of this team, and it has been here once again today. Tyler Knight with the long field goal, Mark Diedrichson with a good punt, Zach France had a good punt return. This is the special teams. It doesn't make many mistakes.
So a loss of 2 on the carry. DeMarsico will hand it off to Deanna, and he was almost off and running there, but he was tripped up by Tyler Jenkins as he got to about the 44-yard line of Rowan. He slipped forward there, and they'll mark his progress down at about the 48.
And Chris Alvarez actually was in the backfield. He just overran his man, and Matt Deanna made him miss by cutting in hard towards the tackle. So Chris Alvarez had a chance there, got good pressure and penetration, but couldn't get him. Good tackle by Tyler Jenkins. How many times have we said that to save the touchdown?
Deanna's having a good day running the football. 8 carries, 47 yards so far. 1st and 10 from the Rowan 48. DeMarsico again, handoff to Deanna. Deanna is stopped at the 41. And Deanna has a burst when he can get out there in the open field. The stop made there by Sanchez on the near side.
You know, the other thing about Deanna is a very small body, hard for guys to see, especially down linemen and linebackers. Unless you have a little bit of height and can see over that line, you're not sure where he's going, and that adds to his elusiveness.
So Deanna helping to spearhead this drive for the Pioneers. It's a 2nd and 3. Pitch play left. Dabney, 40, 35, 30. Stutter step, plowing over a defender inside of the 25, down near the 24-yard line. So Dabney on the run there. But a marker down, and it looks like we're coming back.
That'll be a hold on William Paterson. I didn't necessarily see it. It was a great play call. That's what William Paterson's been doing. Nothing was working in the first half, so maybe try a little bit of trickery. They run the read option that time, and a good job at DeMarsico in once again at quarterback. We've seen him get a couple of looks there. Listed as the backup quarterback, also lines up at wide receiver, also runs kind of a pseudo wildcat, which we just saw there, but his offensive line doesn't help him out with the hold.
So Austin Fellows, we haven't seen a lot of him on this drive. He started out the half. Now he is back in. 8 of 11, 68 yards, 2 interceptions, sacked twice in the first half. 2nd and 6 here from the 44. It'll be a handoff to Dabney, and Dabney has his progress stopped at the 40 of Rowan.
3rd and short here, but with a 2-score game, you'd imagine Paterson will have 2 chances at this one, about a 3rd and 2 yards to gain.
3rd and 2.
So it'll be a 3rd and 2 coming up.
And if I'm the Rowan defense, I'm looking for that swing pass to Deanna in the flat.
This has been an area of success for the Pioneers. 3rd downs today. Shotgun set. Handoff Deanna, and Deanna can't do it. Gang tackle before he could get to the 40-yard line. Jared Sanchez among the Profs in there.
Well, the one thing you have to say about Matt Deanna is that despite the fact that he is an elusive little back, in those 3rd and short situations, he's not the kind of guy you want in there. I'm a little surprised we didn't see a different look. That's the kind of spot where a guy like Jocelyn Rover for the Profs would come in handy, a guy who will just run into the line, and even if he doesn't get much blocking, can still push the pile forward. And you saw Deanna wasn't even close.
Moran on the punt, averaging about 33 yards per boot this year, heading into today. France, looked like he called for a fair catch there and then ran.
Yeah, I think he called for one and said, oh, never mind, I don't want to do that, I have some room, but the referee wasn't fooled by it.
So that will be a Rowan possession that will start inside of the 10-yard line. 11:23 left to go. Quarter number 3, 10-0 lead for Rowan, and considering where that drive seemed like it was headed for William Paterson, that's a win for the Rowan defense.
Great defensive stop once again, and they stopped going with the trickery. A very good stop there on that 3rd and short. And like I said, Matt Deanna, he's not the kind of guy you really want rushing on those 3rd and short situations. I was very surprised by the play call. Like I said, I thought I was going to see, or we were going to see, a pass to the flat. Instead, just a run up the middle, a little halfback misdirection, and he can't get to the spot.
Trips right for Bill McCarty and company on a 1st and 10 from the 8. Low throw, batted up in the air, and that was almost intercepted on the fly. The ball got bounced up in the air off of the incomplete pass, and it was almost intercepted.
I think that might have been Michael Weber, who was the intended receiver. Quick screen over to the right side. He had Warren Oliver in front of him blocking, but it was a low throw. And if you're Weber, you got to know not to keep that one up in the air. Very dangerous play. Luckily, that one falls incomplete. But Bill McCarty, you got to make a better pass than that. We saw that one on the incompletion to Whit Marcelin in the flat. He has a tendency to kind of hook balls and throw them in the ground.
2nd and 10. Two receivers right of the line. Handoff. 20, 30. Whit Marcelin on the run to midfield. Whit Marcelin to the 10, to the 5. Goodbye. Touchdown. 92 yards. 16-0 Rowan. 11 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. And Whit Marcelin gets him up here at Coach Richard Wacker Stadium.
And I like the little touchdown dance he did with Warren Oliver and Todd Gilliam. They took a selfie together. And I love that from Whit Marcelin. Another big run, and very similar, Derek, to what we saw against SUNY Cortland last week. They stack the box. The offensive line does a great job of getting out in front and getting to that second level of linebackers. Opens up a wide open hole for Whit Marcelin. And at that point, all he has to do is run faster than the secondary. He did exactly that.
Knighton on for the extra point. On the way, up and through. 17-0 lead. Whit Marcelin is racking up the touchdowns over the last couple of weeks of the long variety. This one, 92 yards, a career best for Marcelin. Hang tight, we'll have more on North Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. Headed your way right after this. Kickoff will be fielded here by Kersey, and Kersey is whipped down high near the neck area as he approached the 20-yard line. So Eddie Davis with the aggressive tackle there to stop Kersey moving downfield with the run. 17-0 lead, 10:52 left to go. Whit Marcelin, 92-yard touchdown run for the Profs, putting him well over 100 yards on the day for the 10th time in his career.
Yeah, Rowan offense has to be careful. If this keeps happening, they're going to think, hey, this scoring thing is pretty easy. It's not going to be this easy against every opponent, but the offensive line once again doing a great job, as I said before the break, getting to that second level, blocking down the linebackers, opening up the hole for Whit Marcelin.
Fellows, quick throw left side, caught to the 20, to the 23-yard line. Progress stopped there, and clearly one of the big differences over the past 2 weeks has been the offensive line play of Rowan. Clearing up the hole, Marcelin able to hit it effectively, and then he did much of the rest from there. Just simply out-sprinting the Pioneers to the end zone. And John, last week, he did that twice in such quick order, he had to leave the game.
Yeah, no, lucky to see on the sideline Whit Marcelin not down on all fours and dry heaving. That's a good sign. Maybe if he breaks away another one, it might be a different story, though.
2nd and 5. Deanna takes a carry, and Deanna is brought down at the 28. Gain of 4, and that'll set up a 3rd down and a long one here coming up for the Pioneers.
And looking at the sideline, everyone on that offense was pumped up, but I don't know if anyone was more pumped up than Tom Dottie. He's sitting on the sideline saying, man, these guys make it easy on me. I just have to call the plays and they do everything else. And it's just a simple half-back draw up the middle, all the credit going to the offensive line. And, of course, Whit Marcelin, we said at the beginning of the game, give him one hole no matter where it is. He will find it. He will exploit it. Happened that time as well.
3 receivers set. It's a 3rd and 1 from the 28. Fellows, hand off Deanna. Deanna trying to sweep it outside, and he is hit But he got the first down before getting to the 32-yard line, and that will continue the drive for the Pioneers.
I think that's where Matt Deanna has been most successful today, breaking it outside of the tackles just because he has so much better speed than anyone on the defensive line or in the linebacking core. We mentioned Tyler Jenkins has very good speed for a linebacker. Even he's having some trouble catching up to Deanna.
So 5 of 9 now are the Pioneers.
Yeah, with mom and daddy.
9:05 left to go, third quarter. Trips left. Fellows looking, has time, throws one long downfield. It is incomplete. Good throw, but Sanchez there in coverage with Kersey. And he couldn't come up with it.
Now, Derek, I don't think it was a good throw. I think it was a near perfect throw. He put that one exactly where it needed to be. Kersey actually got a hand on it, but what was even better than the throw, once again, was the coverage by Jared Sanchez. We mentioned it, smothering defense from that cornerback. He does not give an inch, and now Darius Kersey looks like he's down on the field, maybe pulled something in that ankle, diving out for that ball.
He tried, when he got up after the play was over, he started limping around and then could not make it back. So the training staff will take a look at him. Should mention many of the props today have some form of purple on in reference to an initiative that the athletics department started up, and that is in regards to domestic violence awareness.
And absolutely, Derek, and you know, it's so unfortunate, but in this day and age, it seems like it's never been more relevant, especially with what's going on in the NFL and the world of football with Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson. Such a great cause and something that needs educating. That's how you stop domestic violence, educate people about it, give victims a voice, and I think that's what this Rowan football and the Rowan athletics department as a whole are doing. A very nice cause and nice to see some of the purple out here. You're used to seeing the pink in the month of October for breast cancer awareness. We saw a little bit of that, and now going to a different cause just as equally important.
4 receivers set, 2 to each side. It is a handoff for Dabney inside as they run that inside sweep play, and it doesn't work. The Profs sniffing that one out. That's a loss inside of the 30-yard line is Bobby Barberi with the stop. So 3rd and long all the way with 8:40 left in the third.
It's been the first thing everyone's been mentioning to me today. I'm going with the purple bow tie. First time in my life I've worn a bow tie. Rob Cunningham, former sports director, likened me to a former WGLS member and host of the Oldies show on Saturday nights, Matt Kazin.
Man, wait till he hears about this. He's going to be jealous. He thought he had the bow tie market covered.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't take a signal from Matt Kazin.
Play action fake. Fellows setting up a rocket screen. 35 out near the 40-yard line with the reception, still about a yard short of the first down. Kersey back in there. So he recovered to make the catch.
That's what's been working in the second half, especially for William Paterson, is these plays that Rowan just doesn't see coming. Unfortunately for that time, they get a nice gain out of it, but a little bit short of the first down, and they'll send out the punting unit. It's a tough call. You know, you're at a spot right now where if you miss, you put Rowan's offense in a great spot, but down by 3 scores, your punter has not had a great day kicking the ball. This is a spot where I'd think about going for it, but I understand why Jerry Flora wants to punt the ball.
So a 4th and 1. They'll punt. Moran has that one blocked, and it's recovered right near the 30-yard line. So the Profs there, and that's Dexter Anderson with the block punt. You can see throughout the day, a lot of the Profs were able to get close, and finally a block.
Hey, you know what happened there? Dexter Anderson didn't even touch the ball. What happened was he blocked the personal protector and just pushed him back into the kick. That's a great job by Dexter Anderson, showing some strength there. You know, the job of a personal protector is to do just that. Did not do a very good job of it that time. Gets pushed right back into his punter, and now all of a sudden they don't go for it on 4th down, and they have even better field position than had they gone for it and missed.
1st and 10 for the Profs at the 31 of William Paterson. Marcelin in the backfield. He'll take, nope, it'll be a play action. Swinging out to the right, caught Forcione right near the sticks at the 20-yard line. They'll mark it. By the way, Whit Marcelin, 11 carries, 143 yards, the 92-yard touchdown run.
And you remember coming into last week, he had an average per carry yardage of 3.1 yards. After last week, it's now over 5. He's averaging 13 a carry here today. Derek, it could be over that 7 or 8 mark come next week.
1st and 10 after the catch by Forcione. The 20, play action. McCarty thrown and short of his intended receiver, Matt Hughes, the tight end.
Not sure if that one got tipped or maybe it was batted down or maybe it just slipped out of the hands of Bill McCarty, but not a very good throw there. But on first down, you can afford a play like that.
6:55 remaining. Third quarter, 17-0 Rowan lead.
You know, some people who were worried about Whit Marceline after the first couple of weeks, and you just see how the panic was unwarranted.
Shotgun snap. McCarty whips a pass left, and that's incomplete. Forgione got turned around there trying to catch the football.
Well, Bill McCarty's thrown the ball twice in a row, and 2 times he has a bad pass. The first one not even close to his intended receiver, Matt Hughes, and that time Russ Forgione was waiting for the screenplay, and Bill McCarty just threw it behind him, and Forgione, it hit his hands, but I wouldn't say that was a catchable ball.
Third down and 10. The Pioneers 20, and a penalty marker down. Movement up front against Rowan, and they'll move him back. So Rowan making things a little bit more difficult for themselves here with the third and now 15.
Third and 15.
And we've seen this a couple times from Rowan today in William Paterson territory where it looks like they have a makeable down and distance situation, then they get tagged with a penalty.
Well, the good thing is they are in Tyler Knighton field goal range. You could make it a 20-point game from this spot in the field, but you'd like to get a little gain here and maybe even think about going for it on fourth down and really putting this game out of reach early in the second half.
Third down and 15 at the Pioneers 25. 3 receivers, 2 near side. McCarty throws, caught, and it's Gilliam near the 12. And he'll be about a yard shy of the first down, and this might be Tyler Knighton time, depending on if the Profs want to go for it here on fourth, and they will say, nope, Tyler Knighton it is.
And I think that would have been an interesting spot. I agree with the call here. Obviously, you want the 20-point lead, but you know what I would have liked to see there? A Josim Rover carry up the middle, see if he can get that tough yardage on a fourth and short. Totally agree with the move, though, regardless.
Knighton, who kicked a 42-yarder earlier, tries this one from 29 yards out. Knighton on the way with the kick. It is up and it is good. So Tyler Knighton extends the Rowan lead out to 20-0. 5:58 left to go here in the third quarter, and Rowan extends the lead. We'll step out for a quick break and come back with more from Coach Richard Wacker Stadium. 20-0 Profs. Stay tuned, we'll have more on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM right after this. Diedrichson with the boot, fielded at the 9. Coming across the 20-25, pushing forward towards the 30. Brought down by Rashad Adams is Kersey. So the Profs with a lead of 20-0. And again, Tyler Knighton showing he is a very valuable piece to this team.
And that one wasn't centered either. It was from the left hash. He marks it up, and he was right down the middle. He's missed on spots a couple of times. He doesn't, when he does miss, it's not by much. I mean, we saw last week off the post, and that's the kind of misses he has. That time it was right down the middle. He's got a great leg, great power behind it. This guy is going to be one of the best field goal kickers I can tell you in Division III football by his senior year.
So that pretty much a mostly special teams related drive there. DeMarsico takes it, play action, rolls right, dumps it off. We have seen him hand off a lot out of that setup, but this time tried to throw it, not much success.
Saw Bobby Barberi on the sideline, caught that ball as it was thrown out of bounds, and he acted like he was going to take it upfield. Obviously, he wasn't one of the 11 on the defense, but great job by this Rowan defensive line, once again causing pressure. William Paterson's offensive line once again struggling to prevent that pressure, and a big part of it, Chris Alvarez just getting by people. John DeCouslis also getting past his man.
3 receivers this time. 2 to the near side. 5:43 remaining. 20-0 lead for Rowan. Ball at the 30 of the Pioneers. Fellows back to throw. Steps up, middle of the field. Caught to the 40-yard line to the 41. Eddie Davis with the stop as Ollie Brown with the reception. So the freshman receiver makes the catch, moves the sticks for the Pioneers.
And Ollie Brown was in the slot there, and at the last minute, Rowan's defense realized there was nobody on him. So at the last second, Kirk Kingett had to come up and kind of play a press coverage. By the time the ball was snapped, Kingett was still in motion, and all Ollie had to do was just put a move on him. A nice slant route wide open in the middle of the field, and a nice look by Austin Fellows.
They'll bring it trips right this time with a receiver out to the far side of the set on a 1st and 10 from the 41 of the Pioneers. Fellows loads up, throws long downfield, a one-handed grab made, touchdown! What a reception down the sideline as DeMarsico makes the catch. It is a 59-yard scoring strike, and it's 20-6. Rowan with 4:57 left to go in the third.
Good coverage by Eddie Davis. I want everyone to know on the 2 deeps, he's listed as a backup quarterback. That is one of the best catches you will ever see at the Division III level. Eddie Davis, it's not your fault. You can't play coverage much better than that. It was a great throw by Austin Fellows, but oh my goodness, DeMarsico with what a catch that was, and that's you deserve all 7 points for that one.
That was literally in the one spot where Eddie Davis could not get to it. Nothing that Davis could do about that. You just tip your cap to the quarterback and the receiver and say, good play.
I should say 6 points. You deserve 7, but that comes down to the place kicker, Sinegra.
This one on the way, spotted up and good. 20-7 lead for the Profs after the acrobatic touchdown reception made of 59 yards from DeMarsico. So the score, Rowan 20, William Paterson 7, 4:57 left to go in the third. More on 89.7. Headed your way right after this. Anthony DeMarsico with a play of the year candidate, at least in terms of the Rowan games this year, with a one-handed stab to make it 20-7. The 59-yard score trims it to a 13-point game. Marcelin has the ball go through his hands and out the back of the end zone. So the Profs will head back out to the field here, leading by 13 with 4:56 left to go. We haven't seen a lot of big plays made against Rowan here in the last week or so, but today, just that throw, you have to give a lot of credit there to DeMarsico.
Yeah, and Austin Fellows as well. He's been close on a lot of these deep balls, and we said that was going to be key for this Rowan defense coming in, limiting the big play. There was one big play last week against Cortland that led to a touchdown. Other than that, they did a very good job of stopping it, but defensively, there is nothing you can do to defend that.
Inside handoff, Forcione trying to turn it up, and he heads out of bounds, far side of the field, near the 30.
And I think it's safe to say, especially if Rowan mounts a good drive here and gets some points out of this, we're going to see that a couple more times from Austin Fellows, whether he's looking at DeMarsico or looking somewhere else. I expect a couple more shots downfield just like that one.
Over the last 2 games and change played here in Glassboro between these two teams. That stops a nearly 7-quarter scoreless streak for William Paterson. They were shut out 51-0 here in 2012. Trips near side for the Profs on a 2nd and 5. And they break through in the backfield, and Marcelin is stopped for a loss. So Marcelin could not break free of Pat Thomas. So Thomas, the defensive lineman, there with a stop.
Very interesting right now in the 4th quarter. 49 seconds left. Morrisville State over Kane 37-31. So Kane certainly still in that game, down by 6, but time nearly expiring, and then Montclair State all over Southern Virginia 35-8. That game is midway through the 4th quarter.
3rd and 8 here for Rowan. Pioneers can get a stop here. Turn the ball over to the offense. They have a couple players here who have been able to have some success against the Profs. McCarty steps up in the pocket, fires, dropped. Far sideline, tried to get Warren Oliver, couldn't bring it in, 4th down.
It was a low throw by Bill McCarty, but once again, a catch that Warren Oliver, especially if he wants to be the #1 wide receiver on this team, needs to make. It was a low throw, but it hit him right in the chest when he dove for it. You have to catch that ball. Warren Oliver still without a catch today. He's been targeted twice and dropped 2 catchable balls. That's something that has to stop on this offense if they want to be successful.
And Whit Marcelin heads to the bench, limping. He's getting checked out over on the Rowan bench. Diedrichson with a punt. Low liner, bounces on this turf here at Coach Richard Wacker Stadium. Eddie Davis right near it, inside of the 35-yard line. It'll be touched up near the 33. And, you know, that's one of the things we talked a lot about with the passing game. Clearly, anytime you talk about the passing game, a lot of the attention is going to go right at the quarterback. But you also have to talk about the receivers, because every throw is not going to be perfect. And at some point, the receivers have got to help out the quarterback a little bit.
Yeah, Bill McCarty has taken a lot of blame this season, and I think in that Widener game it was a different story. He was asked to do too much, and he was forcing balls in. I think 6 interceptions on the day, and most of them were solely on the shoulders of Bill McCarty. But since then, he has been so much better than he was in week 1, and you're right, he's making very good throws.
As back in play, Deanna meets Bobby Barberi. Oh my goodness, a throw out of the flat, and Barberi welcomes him to Glassboro.
Just smoked him. It's a nice hit there by Bobby Barberi. Dealt with some injuries a little bit earlier in the season. Looks fine that time as he just lays the helmet down, and a big hit on a small target to Matt Deanna.
Deanna 5'7", 190.
Back to that original point I was making, if you look at Bill McCarty's stats, since the Widener game, they look pretty average, but really they'd be a lot better if he had wide receivers who would consistently catch the balls he throws. He rarely misses on throws. We've seen him do it a couple times today, but he usually puts it where a guy can make a catch.
Loose football on the play, and Deanna hops back on top of it. So Deanna saves the Pioneers from a turnover. That's the last thing William Paterson needs, and Deanna gets up from the pile, and he's taking a beating here on those last 2 plays. Big hit, and then he has to jump in to try to prevent a turnover.
Yeah, we talked about, Jerry Flora in the other corner segment talked about how he was unhappy about how they scored against Montclair, and then the defense couldn't pitch a shutout in the next drive, and that's what he needed. After a 3-and-out, you'd love the offense to move the ball, and they have not looked comfortable on this drive.
3rd and 13. 3 receivers, 2 to the near side. Fellows takes a shotgun snap. In trouble. Chris Alvarez rips him down. Tried to get away from Alvarez, but he said no. Punt time.
Definitely not the offensive drive you wanted if you're William Paterson there. We said it, you have a miraculous scoring play. You get it back to within a 2-score game, and then your defense comes up with a huge stop, a 3-and-out, and then your offense just cannot reciprocate, and they go 3-and-out as well. And now they're deep in their territory after the big sack, as it's about a 4th and 25 upcoming here. And this is going to be, for a punter who hasn't been kicking the ball very far today, probably going to give Rowan good field position.
Ran on it to 5 to punt. France catches it right near the 39-yard line. Tries to move downfield, eludes one man near the 45, spinning forward to the 48. 1:44 remaining 3rd quarter, 20-7. Rowan lead over William Paterson University. The Profs outgaining William Paterson today, 236 to 192.
And that was probably Pat Moran's best punt of the game.
His last one was blocked and set up a field goal by Tyler Knighton. So the Rowan offense returns to the field. Marcelin is in the game. And let's see here. They'll line him up in the slot this time.
Jocelyn Rover in the backfield.
1st and 10, ball at the 48 of Rowan. McCarty gets the snap. And McCarty will keep it himself and lowers his head and is knocked down by Gallimore near midfield. I wonder if that was the intended design of that play. It looked like they had some stuff going on there.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been an attempted end around. You had Russ Forgione coming through the backfield towards the near sideline, but I think Bill McCarty saw that the defense was pinching from the other side of the line, and he knew if he hands that ball off, Forgione's probably going to be stopped for a loss. McCarty keeps it and gets a little 3-yard gain. You'll take that.
3 receivers left. Handoff Rover. Rover steamrolling a man near the 1st down marker in the Pioneers' territory. And that will move the chains for the Profs.
That's exactly what this offense has been missing, is a power back. Jocelyn Rover got hit at the line of scrimmage and fell forward for what seemed like 9 or 10 yards. And when you're a big body who can just barrel through guys like that, that's going to happen. And you're going to get some first downs where initially it doesn't look like you should.
1st and 10, Rover again. Rover. Wow, that's not going to be a fun experience for defenders to get in front of him and tackle him. He brings that football down near the 1st down marker again. That's a gain of 9. That'll set up a 2nd and 1.
No, and he's not dragging around defensive backs. He's dragging around linebackers. It seems like as long as the offensive line gets a push on the down lineman, he can get through to those linebackers and he can push them back.
2nd and 1 from the 33. Rover. And Rover is stopped. So Rover, the ball carrier that time, and that is going to be a little bit shy.
I will say they'll give it to him. They'll give him an extra yard there. I think that's a nice spot, but he'll get the first down.
Yeah, he did get the first down. I think they might mark him a little short at least from where he landed, but it is a first down. 10 seconds left to go in the quarter, and it looks like the Profs will opt to let the clock run out.
A couple of finals in the end. Jack SUNY Cortland moves to 1-4, pick up their first win of the season. This one over the TCNJ Lions, 24-14. Morrisville State hangs on to beat Kane 37-31, and in the 4th quarter, as we mentioned, Montclair State in no danger of losing this game to Southern Virginia. 35-8 is the lead for the Redhawks.
We'll come back with the start of the 4th quarter at the end of 3, 20-7. Rowan out in front by 13. Stay tuned, more on Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM right after this.
In foliage season and all, and we were married up there in foliage season with
20-7 Rowan lead. Derek Jones and Jonathan Cohut with you today for Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. Rowan on the move with a 1st and 10 in Pioneers territory at the 31. 3 receivers right of the line.
My daughter at Logan probably.
McCarty gets it, handoff Rover. Rover, not much there. But even with the second effort, still able to get near the 28-yard line.
He should have been stopped at the line. That's where he got hit, but Jocelyn Rover keeps the legs churning, and that's the number one thing they tell you as a running back. Is really the number one rule is never stop moving your feet. Even after first contact, keep the feet chopping, and when you're as strong as Jocelyn Rover, that's easier done than said, I think.
5 carries, 25 yards. It's a 2nd and 7 from the 28 of the Pioneers. They slide the pocket right for McCarty. He'll throw, and it is caught. Near sideline, Mike Weber with the reception. former running back.
If you're Michael Weber, that's how you're going to get more looks. Catch the ball. That's a nice one on the sideline. A nice pass by Bill McCarty as well to hit Weber in the only spot that ball was going to be catchable. And Mike Weber, his second reception of the season, second target today, and a very nice catch.
1st and 10 after the catch by Weber, and it'll be interesting to see who steps in to help out and fill the void for the loss of Frankie Goris. Ball at the 17 of the Pioneers. Marcelin runs by one defender, but knocked down at about the 11. That'll be a gain of 6. 2nd and 4 forthcoming for the Profs.
Oh boy, after that touchdown pass from Austin Fellows to Anthony DiMarcico, it looked like Paterson had a chance in this game, but a very costly 3-and-out by their offense on the next drive has really stalled things, and now Rowan driving, and they could put this game out of reach with a score here.
3 to the left for the Profs this time. 2nd and 4. 20-7 lead for Rowan. Quick throw left. Forcione makes the catch. Makes one man miss. To the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. He's in. Touchdown. An 11-yard touchdown reception by Forcione. Makes it 26-7 Rowan with 13-12 left to go.
You just wonder when defenses are going to wise up to the fact that is one of Bill McCarty's favorite passes to make. Russ Forcione on a little turn screen. There's not even much blocking in front of him. He's very elusive, good at making one-man miss. And on a screen like that where you're set off alone on one side of the field, all you have to do is make that one-man miss and you're going to have a wide-open lane.
So Forcione with a touchdown, and now a penalty will be thrown here as the Pioneers got a little bit too jumpy at the line. Forcione with his second touchdown catch of the season for the Profs, and it's offsides.
And they declined the penalty. I don't know why they wouldn't just move it 1 yard closer.
This
Fair
guy
point.
could do it from 42 yards.
Yeah.
They want to give Tyler Knighton the challenge, I suppose.
So Knighton on for the extra point. Spotted on the way up and good. So Tyler Knighton gets the extra point, making it 27-7. Rowan out in front by 20 again. 13-12 left to go here in the fourth quarter. One more on Rowan Radio, 89.7 WGLS FM. Headed your way right after this.
Betsy and I used to sing the national anthem together. In the
Kickoff by Diedrichsen will be fielded and brought out past the 10 to the 15 near the 20-yard line. Warnieri on the return for William Paterson University. So the Pioneers, who have not had a lot of success here in this game moving the football, now down 20 once more with 13:05 left to go.
And like I said, I think the key drive in this game was the 3-and-out after that scoring drive for William Paterson. It just kills all momentum, and they had a lot of it. Not only did they get a great catch by Anthony DiMarcico and a great throw by Austin Fellows for the score, but they subsequently get a 3-and-out from Rowan's offense. They could have built on that and really buried Rowan and made them feel a bit down on themselves, but instead a 3-and-out, and Rowan is able to respond with a score.
13:05 left to go. Two receivers each side. Fellows steps up, in trouble, flips it downfield, incomplete. The closest receiver was either Kersey or DiMarcico.
And Alvarez once again looked like he was being held on that play. He wanted the call, but they're not going to give it to him. He's just been manhandling some of these offensive linemen. Seems like that's their only choice. Otherwise, Austin Fellows might be in a world of pain with Chris Alvarez hitting him all the time. It's not an easy hit to take from an All-American.
So, Bill, do you get to the library?
Update on Bill McCarty, 12 of 18, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trips right this time to the line. It's a 2nd and 10 from the 22. Handoff, Deanna, and Deanna is stopped right near the line of scrimmage by the Profs. The Rowan defensive front crashing down in there on that run attempt.
And those are the offensive plays that really haven't been working. Matt Deanna with little draw plays and misdirections up the middle. What has been working is when he can stretch it out past the tackles. He's got such speed that he can outrun a lot of the guys on this Rowan defense. I'm not sure why Jerry Flora hasn't gone to that stretch play a little bit more.
Just under 12 and a half minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 10, ball at the 22 of the Pioneers. 3 receiver set. Fellows moving right, then now moves left, stepping up in big time trouble. There's a penalty marker down on the play. Fellows throws downfield, it's intercepted. Kirk Kingett again. Kingett to the 20, and he's knocked out of bounds.
And you imagine that that flag will probably be for holding, so I think that'll will stand up, but we'll see.
This should be against William Paterson and is penalty declined. Rowan football.
Kurt Kingett, 3 interceptions on the season, 2 of them today, and once again a very easy one where he didn't really have to do very much because it was a bad decision by Austin Fellows. He got flushed out of the pocket. He was out of the tackle box. He probably should have thrown that one out of bounds. Instead, he tries to force something into double coverage, and Kurt Kingett barely has to move ball right to his hands, and he does not miss it.
That sets up Rowan in the red zone already. 1st and 10 with 11:58 left to go, and the Profs looking to build upon the 27-7 lead.
First time this season, I believe we'll see Zach France lining up in the slot.
3 receivers. McCarty takes a snap. Play action, rolls right, looking, still looking. He'll keep it himself to the 15, out of bounds, inside of the 15 near the 13-yard line. Should Rowan win this game, they'll improve to 2-0 in the NJAC and improve their mark in NJAC openers at home to 36-10.
Just seems like a much different game than we saw last year against Paterson, and I think a big part of that has to be the quarterback position. Austin Fellows hasn't made great decisions today. He hasn't been given many opportunities to throw, but Ryan Gressick, a much stronger quarterback.
2nd and 4, handoff, Whit Marcelin. Lowers his head, knocked down though, in between the 13 and 12-yard line. That'll set up 3rd down here for the Profs. Marcelin approaching 150 yards rushing on the day. If you're joining us late, a 92-yard touchdown run for Marcelin, longest play for the Profs of this season from scrimmage and the longest run of Marcelin's career. 3 receivers, 2 left. Marcelin takes the handoff, and he is about, it looks like a yard short. Actually might be shorter than that. It'll be 4th down. Let's see where they'll spot him, as Tyler Knighton, regardless of where the official spot will be, is heading into the game.
1 at the 10-yard line.
Tyler Knight looking to go 3 for 3. That would be the first time in his career he makes 3 field goals in the same game. Something tells me if he makes this, it won't be the last.
So this will be an attempt of about 27 yards. Spot will come right down the middle. The hold is good. The kick has plenty of distance on the way up and through. Tyler Knighton with another field goal. 30-7. Rowan leading with 10:04 left to go as the Profs push the lead out to 23 points here against the Pioneers. Rowan in firm control, up 30-7. We'll step out for a break and come back with more on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM right after this. Profs lead it here 30-7. Wanyeri out with the return across the 20 to the 22 as the Pioneers offense returns to the field in a big hole down with 9:58 left to go. This brown and gold Gridiron Club game summary. Profs in control of the game in large part due to Whit Marcelin's all-around performance, but the defense, with the exception of the DiMarsico play, in control yet again.
Defense has been great, have not been giving Austin Fellows many looks at all, and for a freshman, they're going to tend to get a little bit panicky, especially when it's only his 5th start of his collegiate career, and this is the best defense he's been up against so far in his young career.
It'll be a play action. DiMarsico this time in at quarterback. Pressure coming on from Alvarez, thrown out to Deanna, and luckily for Deanna, he did not catch it because Tyler Jenkins was right there waiting for him.
Yeah, he's already gotten popped by Bobby Barberi, who I think is half the size of Tyler Jenkins, so that probably would not have been pretty. DiMarsico getting another look at quarterback. His first throws of the season today, and he's had a couple of them.
It has been Fellows who's received all of the work at quarterback. He was 22 with 39 last week, 254, touchdown and a pair of interceptions, but rendered pretty ineffective again here today, this time by the Rowan defense. 2nd and 10 from the 22 of Paterson. Looks like DiMarsico a little lost there on that play as Deanna that time did find Tyler Jenkins, and he didn't like it. Brought down to the backfield for a loss.
That's just a very dangerous decision by Anthony DiMarsico, understanding that he hasn't had many looks at the quarterback position, certainly not in game-time situations, but you have to try to protect your receivers there, and you have to be able to have field vision to understand that a linebacker like Tyler Jenkins is bearing down on him. Not only are you putting him health-wise at risk because of his height disadvantage compared to Tyler Jenkins and overall size disadvantage, but you end up losing 5 yards on the play.
It's another tackle for a loss by Jenkins, who is in double figures and tackles here today. 3rd and 15, 9 minutes left. Profs up 30-7. Fellows in. Over the middle, caught. Trying to get by Dungy, does so. Kingett brings down the receiver. Kersey at the 30-yard line.
Got to go for it here.
13 yards on the
You're in a spot deep in your own territory where if you don't convert, Rowan has a good spot, but you're already down by 23 points. So really at this point, what's the harm? But it's amazing how important special teams is. And I know we talked about it a little bit before, Derek, but you think about if this is 2013 and you don't have Tyler Knighton, assuming we don't score touchdowns on all those field goal drives, and this is a 21-7 game, and all of a sudden William Paterson's still very much in this contest because of the 9 points off the foot of Tyler Knighton. This game is pretty much out of reach at this point.
One receiver to each side of the line. Deanna with a handoff. He's stopped on 4th down by Chris Alvarez. A 4th and 2, and Alvarez obliterates the Pioneers offensive line to come up with a stop.
I was waiting for it because he was doing it all day, just putting spin moves on these offensive linemen. They haven't had anywhere to go, and that time Chris Alvarez just pummels his way through the line, meets Deanna in the backfield. A rough drive for Matt Deanna. First he gets hit by Tyler Jenkins, then a size upgrade gets hit by Chris Alvarez. I think he's going to be a little bit sore on Sunday morning.
They're not doing him any favors here today, so the Profs will take over.
I think we pretty much got this one under control.
1st and 10 from the 28. 8:12 left. Marcelin takes the pitch. Marcelin to the 20, to the 15, down the sideline. And Marcelin, they say, stepped out of bounds at the 12. How about Marcelin? Through the first few games of the season, really the first 3 games of the season, Rowan was doing very little running the football. Even in the win over Framingham State, did not equip themselves well running the football. But the last 2 games, boy, has it been a different story.
150 yards on the ground, averaging 10 yards a carry. That's a formula for success, and anyone can tell you that.
1st and 10 for the Profs. Ball at the 12 of William Paterson. 2 receivers right of the line. Hand off Marcelin. Marcelin is cut down at the 10. Gain of 2. Setting up a 2nd down. And about 8 to go for the Profs.
And Jasim Rover once again averaging 5 yards a carry, so limited action once again for a guy who Now, I wouldn't be surprised, Derek, if next week we look at the two deeps and we see Whit Marcelin and Jasim Rover at that running back position, because he looks like a guy who is poised to make an impact on this offense, especially when it comes to spelling the feature back Whit Marcelin.
2nd and 8. Ball at the 10. McCarty, play action, slips it out right. Caught. And close to a first down is the tight end, Matt Hughes.
Hughes doesn't have a touchdown yet this season. I thought he might have found a way to get in there. He doesn't. But a nice catch and run by Matt Hughes, takes contact at the end and gets him close to that first down marker.
Well, you talked about Rover. Here he is. Marcelin out, Rover in.
This is exactly the spot I wanted to see Jasim Rover. Can he get the tough yardage? 2 yards to go. Let's see what he's got.
3rd and 2 from the 4. Shotgun set. McCarty hands it off to Rover, and he stopped in the backfield for a loss.
Well, nothing much you could do about that one. There was just no blocking that time. As getting through the line, it was Quentin Witherspoon who just was unblocked, and he's a big body. I know Jasim Rover is big, but that defensive lineman a little bit bigger, and there's nothing you can do as a running back there when you get met 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Another Knighton field goal attempt with 5:50 left to go. About a 23-yard try this time around. Spot from the right hash. Kick has plenty of distance and is good. Tyler Knighton extending the lead to 33-7 with 5:39 left to go. Profs up by 26. We'll step out for a quick break and have more on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM Glassboro right after this. Diedrichson on to kick it away. Profs kicking from left to right with 5:39 left to go. This one will be brought out from the end zone. Wanyeri is tackled shy of the 25-yard line at the 23. So the Profs up by 26. And John, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that they found themselves a pretty good place kicker.
Yeah, and Jay Accorsi continues to tell me, oh, well, you know, every single week it's a competition in practice. Well, it might be an open competition, but it's certainly one that Tyler Knighton is winning on a week-by-week basis, and I don't think we're going to see anyone else but Tyler Knighton kicking field goals for this Rowan Profs team for as long as he is a student here.
It's interesting at the Division III level is the Profs will be called here for offsides as they set up. The D3 level with kicking is such an up and down roller coaster. It's hard to find guys who A, can kick from any type of length, and then B, and most importantly, are accurate.
Absolutely. And Dan Dawson last year, the place kicker for the Profs, he had a pretty good leg. It was the accuracy that I think he lacked from time to time.
Deanna on the run. He is stopped after getting across the 30 to about the 31-yard line. So that Rowan defensive line again, sturdy. Deanna's had some decent runs today, but not that time.
And it seemed like last year Dawson's field goal range was anywhere inside the 10-yard line. And contrast that with Tyler Knighton, who can hit anything from the 25-yard line, maybe even beyond that. We haven't really seen him get a chance at it, but I'm sure he could.
Trips near side, 4 receivers overall. It's a 2nd and 8. Fellows throws to Dabney. It hits him right in the hands and he drops it. So Dabney, and we saw that become an issue in the 20-9 loss at William Paterson last year. They couldn't catch the ball. And that time Dabney just dropped it.
And, you know, we talked about some of the big losses as it looks like there's an injury on the Profs sideline, a William Paterson player possibly. Can't really see because there's too many brown jerseys in the way. But Referees are looking at something over here on the near sideline, just not sure what. Rowan trainers are looking at somebody, and we're not sure who's down.
Yeah, you can't tell what happened there. There were a lot of bodies around the play.
Not sure what could have happened. It was a pretty cut and dry play, just a little curl route on the sideline. There's no defenders around him, but it's in that spot, so maybe you worry about a twisted ankle or knee that just sent the defender to the ground, and that's what left him wide open. Coach Accorsi standing over the injured player, and it looks like it's John Allbecker.
Yep, John Allbecker, one of the defensive backs.
And it looks like another leg injury. So we saw Cullen McHugh go down earlier with a leg injury, and now this time it's Allbecker.
And that has hounded the Profs this season here, especially over the last couple of weeks. They lose Frankie Goris to an ACL as well. By the way, Tyler Knighton tying the record for most points in a game by a kicker, 15 today. Broke the record for field goals in a game. Previously was 3. This one caught over the middle. Heading towards the end zone and into the end zone for a touchdown is Darius Kersey. Caught it from Fellows over the middle and took it 69 yards for a score.
I just found the one hole in the defense. I was waiting for Darius Kersey to get involved with this offense. We talked about the kind of weapon he is, one of the biggest ones on this William Paterson team. Simple route, slant route up the middle. He had one linebacker in back of him, one linebacker in front of him, and the safety Kingett was coming up to play in coverage. So once he catches that ball, he finds the seam, and he was off to the races.
33-13 the score, with 4:39 left to go. Extra point by Sinegra is up and good. So 33-14 the score, 4:39 left to go. We'll step out and have more from Coach Richard Wacker Stadium on Rowan Radio 89.7 WGLS FM. Headed your way right after this. Michael Weber and the Profs set to get the ball back, and Sinegra will go with an extra point, or excuse me, for an onside kick after the extra point.
An interesting setup by Rowan. 6 men rather on the line, 4 in back of them.
Sinegra will kick it over to his right. High bounce off the turf, bouncing, deflected, and heading out of bounds. Jared Sanchez had a shot there for Rowan, but the ball deflected off of a player and then headed out of bounds, so Rowan will get possession of the football.
And with 4.5 minutes left, if the Profs can move the chains 1 or 2 times, that should do it for the game and move them to 2-0 in the conference. Don't expect William Paterson to just give up here, but Tyler Knighton, some kind of game he's having. Mentioned the records before the break.
4:35 left to go. 33-14 lead for Rowan. The Prof special teams will certainly get a lot of credit for what has happened here today. Again, Knighton, 4 field goals today, breaking the previous school record of 3 in a game. 3 receivers set, 2 to the right. And it'll be Rover this time with the carry. As Rover getting an opportunity to see some extended time now with the game in hand, with the Profs up by 19 with 4:20 left.
And Damian Thomas is the quarterback now. Damian Thomas, another freshman, along with Kyle Maroney. Maroney is listed as the number 2 quarterback in the system. And Maroney more of a pocket passer, whereas Thomas is more of a rollout, scrambling guy. And in this situation, that's probably what you want. You figure they're going to run the ball here. So if anything, you'd rather have a fleet-of-foot quarterback like Thomas in there along with Josim Rover.
6 feet, 157 pounds out of East Orange, New Jersey. He'll hand it off here to Rover again, who finds a crease in the line to get the first down.
And having Thomas just shows how good the recruiting for Rowan has been, especially over the past 10 or 15 years, taking from all parts of New Jersey. East Orange up in North Jersey around my neck of the woods, and Damian Thomas recruited from there. Kyle Maroney, another guy from the central New Jersey area, from South Plainfield, a greater Middlesex County team.
And an injured Prof is down. As again, both teams having issues at times here today with health, as Darryl Gulford is down.
And Gulford had a penalty a little bit earlier, a false start. The freshman getting some time now, obviously because of the injuries already sustained on that offensive line. Jay Corsi was talking about how he's excited about this guy, a freshman, but boy, he's big. And he looks like he'll walk off on his own, under his own power, so that's a good sign. Maybe a little cramp or possibly even a sprain, but obviously nothing too serious in that leg.
Gulford, who is over 350 pounds, such a big frame out there.
And you can see why this coaching staff is excited to have a guy like that on the offensive line, a guy they can trust as a freshman. He's only going to get better, and he's probably only going to get bigger.
And when you have a guy like that who you can put out there and have him control the line of scrimmage, it's a big benefit to the offensive line. And we've seen Rowan's offensive line play better here over the last few weeks. Handoff Rover right side to the 35 of the Pioneers with 3:25 left to go. That's good enough for a first down. As the Profs closing in on win number 3 of the season.
And they'll change quarterbacks again. Thomas out, Maroney in. So now both freshmen going to get some looks at the quarterback position. Be interesting to see if Maroney drops back to throw. You'd figure he won't at this point in the game, but that's the hype around him, is that he's got a very strong arm, can drop back in the pocket, and that's what I'd like to see from him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rover just carries the ball until they give it up or until the clock hits 0.
3 receivers, as Rover will take the football and move it forward near the 31-yard line with 2:40 left to go.
I don't know if you want to see that, because Maroney was just trying to block for Rover and push the pile, and he was working heads up with an offensive lineman. I think the lineman was taking it a little bit easy on Maroney. Maroney, not exactly a big-bodied guy, very tall, but very lanky as well. Not a lot of weight on him.
One of the staples of good Division III football teams is the ability to have good backups, because you're going to have injuries during the course of the year. And that's why this part of the game is important to the development of the youth and depth of this football team. 2nd and 5. Handoff again as the Profs getting inside of the 30-yard line. As Chad Scott takes the handoff, the freshman runner. Bringing up 3rd down. This series has been a lopsided one in Glassboro in particular. Last 10 meetings have been decided on average by about 37 points per game. This one, with the exception of a couple of, long touchdown plays, one of which a borderline miraculous play made by DiMarcico, has made it a closer score than what actually may be the reality of the situation. Scott again, and Scott is close to a first down, but it looks like he is short based off the spot, and he may have lost the football, and he did. So he lost the football on the tail end of that run, and the Pioneers will get it here with 1:08 left.
See, that would have been interesting, because it would have been a 4th and short, and I think they would have probably sent Tyler Knighton out for another field goal, and that would have been something to see him go 5 for 5, especially considering the spot on the field. It probably would have been around another 42-yarder. So a shame we don't get to see Tyler Knighton go for the 5 for 5, which is something you rarely ever see at the Division III level, but this game is just about over. 1:08 left, and Paterson will try to get something going offensively. And for some reason, Austin Fellows is still in this game at quarterback.
Yep. 4 receivers, 2 to each side for Fellows. 1:08 left. Fellows moving to the right. Throws one downfield, and it's caught. Leaping high in the air.
And Fellows is slow to get up. He took a big hit. I don't know why he's in this game.
Kersey comes up with a catch again.
Looked like it was Tom Amirati, who's the freshman who hit Fellows at the end of that play just after he threw the ball. And Fellows, as I said, slow to get up, and I just don't know why he's in this game. Same goes for Matt Deanna, still in at the running back position.
Kersey, by the way, 108 yards receiving on the day. 59 seconds left to go. Fellows, 1st and 10, 4 receivers for Fellows. He'll throw. Throws a bomb downfield, and it is almost caught. It was dropped. Had a man over on the far side of the field. And that was Kersey again, but he could not haul him in. As Rowan, 53 ticks away from a victory, and they defensively would love for the chance to close this game on a high by forcing maybe another big play.
Game might take a little bit longer to come to a close because it looks like Paterson's just going to keep bombing the ball down the field, hope for that big play.
And for the Pioneers, more of the same here in Glassboro. As the penalty marker thrown right before the play starts, it'll be a false start. William Paterson has not won since 1994 here in Glassboro. In fact, Rowan has been historically for William Paterson, has been a big thorn in the side of the Pioneers. As the last time they were in the playoffs, over 20 years ago, that playoff run was ended by the Profs.
Well, William Paterson, especially recently, known more for their basketball teams, 2 magnificent basketball teams, and of course we're going to see them come the winter months. But this is a football team that's won the NJAC a couple of times, certainly no slouches when it comes to football, but just struggling with this Profs team, and that's the way it's been historically. Just can't get over that hump.
2nd and 15 as we will have a stop again before the play can get started. They're going to adjust the clock here.
Put 1 extra second on that clock.
To 53 seconds from 52. By the way, that aforementioned playoff game, 1993, second round, 37-0 playoff win for the Profs. A notable year in Rowan football history because that was the first season in which Rowan got to the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl. Fellows will dump it off, and it's dropped by Deanna. Deanna, if he caught it, had a lot of free room to roam in the Rowan secondary, but he could not bring the football in on a long yardage situation. And now it's 3rd and 15 for the Pioneers.
Oftentimes what you'll see from running backs who are going out to catch balls is they look upfield a little bit too quickly, just because that's what they're used to, is moving the ball upfield at as quick a pace as possible. And you're right, Deanna had a lot of room to run there, but he was more concerned about the running than the catching, and that leads to a lot of drop balls.
4 receivers, 2 to each side. Fellows steps up in the pocket, and he will try to take off here, and then gets hit right near the sideline, and late penalty marker thrown. Now, we'll see if that's because Fellows was hit out of bounds. As soon as he was hit, a lot of jaw-jacking on the side of William Paterson's sideline, so you wonder if maybe there was some extracurricular business going on the other sideline.
Now, maybe a mistake by the Rowan defense, but at the same time, it just brings up the question, why is Austin Fellows still in this game? He's a freshman. He's your future quarterback. You're not going to win this game down 33-14 with 39 seconds left. You keep your starting quarterback in, and he's going to take hits like that. He decides to roll out. He takes a hit on the sideline, and this penalty does go against William Paterson.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Pioneers.
So obviously just some frustration letting out on the sidelines. But obviously if you're Austin Fellows, you want to be in this game. You never want to be on the sideline, but I think if you're Jerry Flora, you just have to cut your losses and say, let's see what someone else can give us at the quarterback position, because it's not just about this year for Austin Fellows, it's about the next 3 years after this, because he's only a freshman, and you don't want him dealing with injuries early in his collegiate career.
4th down and 26. Fellows has a lot of time, just dumps one off downfield, and Deanna is planted right near the 40-yard line. Tim Haslett with the hit. And I think Deanna may be very excited to get back on the bus to head back to Wayne, New Jersey. He is taking a beating here in this second half.
And part of the reason is he's the only wide receiver who's getting open for Austin Fellows, so Fellows really has nowhere else to go. He wanted to go deep there. It was a quarters coverage defensively for Rowan. He had nowhere to go, and now we'll just see Kyle Maroney take a couple of knees here.
5 seconds left to go as the Profs on their way to another victory. It'll be the second win in a row for the Profs. Maroney with a knee, and that will do it. The Profs open up the home slate of their NJAC schedule with a 33-14 win over the William Paterson University Pioneers. Whit Marcelin, one of the big stars of the day, again approaching 200 yards rushing on the afternoon, including a 92-yard touchdown run to help propel the Profs to a 19-point win. 2 straight weeks of solid football, and another week where the special teams chips in as well.